Hello, Math 7. This is Mrs. Freeze. And today for homework, we're going to be doing some practice problems to help you study for your Chapter 7 quiz. Normally, we would be working these problems out in class using whiteboards, but because we're not together, you'll need to have a piece of paper and pencil to complete these problems. Each time a set of problems is shown, I want you to pause the video and work the problems out on your paper. When you are done solving the problems that are shown, then push play and I will solve each problem so you know if you did them correctly. I want you to use this along with all of your Chapter 7 homework and the Chapter 7 quiz review to study for the Chapter 7 quiz that you're going to take in Edulastic. I'm going to assign that test on Thursday. Here are the first 3 problems. I would like you to find x and find the measure of the missing angles, it should say. I know that got cut off. So find x and find the measure of any angles that you don't know the measure of. Okay, pause your video now. When you are ready, push play. Okay, let's look at number 1. Number 1, you have 4x plus 3 is one of your angles, and you have this angle that's 85 degrees. You're going to find x, and then you're going to find the measure of QRS. Remember that we always look at the angle that we know. We know this one's 85 degrees, and it's right next to this angle where I need to solve for something. If I look at these 2 angles together, I know that these are supplementary angles. You always want to identify what type of angles they are. They are supplementary angles. What do we know about supplementary angles? They are 2 angles that add to equal 180 degrees. So 4x plus 3 plus the 85 should add to 180 degrees. Let's combine our like terms. I have 3 plus 85. That gives me 88. Okay. All right. I can undo that addition term with subtraction. I'm going to subtract 88 on both sides. That leaves me with 4 times x is equal to, that's 2. 17 minus 8 is 9. Okay, divide both sides by 4. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put top dog in the house. That tells me that x is 23. So x is 23. Now we're not going to put degrees on that because that's the value of x. Next, it wants us to find angle QRS. That's this angle right here. In order to do that, I can just take what I know for x, 4 times x, which is 23 now. We know x is 23, plus 3 will give me angle QRS. Well, I already know 92 by 4 is 23, so 4 times 23 is 92. 92 plus 3, that gives me 95. So angle QRS is 95 degrees. And if I go back and check, 85 plus 95 should equal 180, and they do. Okay, let's look at number 2. I've got a triangle. I know the angles in a triangle always add to 180 degrees. So 4x plus 5x plus 1x is going to equal 180. I'm going to go ahead and combine my like terms. That is 10x is equal to 180 degrees. Divide both sides by 10. Okay. And that tells me that x is equal to 18. Now I found x. That's the first part, but now it says find the measure of the missing angles. I still have these three angles that I need to know what the measure of them are. I know this one's 18 because it's just x, right? That's 18 degrees. But right here, this is 5 times what x is. 5 times 18. I know that 5 times 18 is 90. So this one's 90 degrees. It doesn't really look like a 90-degree angle, but it is 90 degrees. And then this one right here is 4 times 18. If I come up here, 18 times 4, that's 72. So 90, this is 72. And again, we can make sure that these three angles add to 180. 72 plus 18 is 90, and 90 plus 90 does equal 180. So my answer involves this 90 degrees, 18 degrees, 72 degrees, and x is 18. All right, what kind of angles do we have here? I know that this angle right here is 75, right? And it's right next to this angle. Again, I have to find x, and then I have to find the angle DEF. Over here, we said half a circle was 180. Well, this is a fourth of a circle. 75 degrees plus whatever this angle is going to equal 90 degrees. These are called complementary angles. And we know that complementary angles always add to 90 degrees. Okay, so I've got 75 plus 45 minus 2x, 75 plus 45 minus 2x equals 90. Go ahead and combine my like terms. That's 120 minus 2 times x equals 90. I'm going to subtract 120 on both sides. Now be careful, this is negative 2 times x left, and then this is going to be a negative 30. Divide both sides by that entire coefficient, divide by negative 2, and you have that x is 15. So we found that x is 15. Now all I need to do is substitute x into my expression. Okay, 45 minus 30, that is 15. So not only is x 15, but my angle is 15 degrees. Okay, here are 2 more problems. Pause the video. When you are finished, push play and we will solve these together. Okay, on number 1 it says find x, then find the measure of the missing angles. Again, I see that I have a triangle, 58 plus x plus 22 plus 3x. Those are going to add to 180. I'm going to combine my like terms. I've got 3x plus 1x. That gives me 4 times x. Plus 58 plus 22, that's 80, is equal to 180. Subtract 80 on both sides. Four times x is 100, and I know that 4 times 25 is going to give me 100. So x is 25. Okay, that's the first part of my answer. When I substitute 25 back in here for x, I have 25 plus 22. That tells me that this angle right here is 47 degrees. And this one is 3 times 25. This angle is 75 degrees. So I found x, I found the measure of this angle right here. That's 47. And I found the measure of this angle right here. That's 75 degrees. But I also need to find the measure of this angle right here, because that said find the measure of the missing angles. Well, I know that this is a half circle again. This is going to be supplementary angles. Creates this straight line down here, and then the angles together make half a circle. If this one's 75, 75 plus 105 degrees would equal 180. Number 2, it says a map has a scale of 2 inches for every 6 miles. If Clayton to Centerville are 13 inches apart on the map, how far are these real cities? So we have the distance on the map. We want to find the distance in actual miles. We always start with the scale. In this case, for every 2 inches, it's 6 miles. So 2 inches on the model or the map, it's 6 miles of actual distance. We know that to get from 2 to 6, our COP is 3. And that's going to help us find the actual distance. If on the map it's 13 inches apart, I know 13 times 3 is 39. So that tells me if on the map the cities are 13 inches apart, they are 39 actual miles apart in real life. All right, last set of problems. Go ahead and pause the video. Okay, let's look at number 1. This is very much like the triangle problem that we did on the last set of problems. You've got these 3 angles, 80 plus x plus 61 plus x plus 51 should add to equal 180. I'm going to go ahead and combine my like terms. I've got 1x plus 1x. That's 2 times x. 51 plus 61 plus 80. Let's add those up. Combine our like terms. We've got 2, that's 14 plus 5, that's 192. So 2 times x plus 192 add to equal 180. Subtract 192. That leaves me with 2 times x is equal to, now this would be a negative. You have more negatives than positives. It would be equal to negative 12. Divide both sides by the coefficient 2. And that tells me that x is negative 6. So I found x. X is negative 6. Next, my job is to go back and find the measure of all the missing angles. Okay, and that would be 3 different angles here. I have negative 6 plus 61 for this angle. That tells me that this angle right here is 55 degrees. I have negative 6 plus 51 for this angle. This angle right here is 45 degrees. And then I have to find, I know if this angle is 45, and I need to find the angle right next to it, those 2 angles, they create that half circle and this straight line right here, okay? Those are supplementary, 180 degrees. 180 plus what is going to give me 145. Okay, so if you need to, you work on the side. 180 plus minus what gives me 45 degrees. Sorry. That's 135 degrees. So 135 degrees for this angle plus 45 degrees for this angle right here, and that adds up to 180. Number 2, a model of a park has dimensions of 19 inches by 17 inches. What are the actual dimensions if the scale, there's that scale that we're going to start with, is for every ½ inch on the model, it's 2 feet of actual length. Make our table. You've got inches on the model. For every ½ inch on the model, it is 2 feet of actual length. That tells us that our COP is 4 because half of 4 is 2. Okay? Now I want to find my length and my width. The length on the model is 17 inches, and the width on the model is 9 inches. Using my COP, I know that 17 times 4 is going to give me how many feet the length is on the actual model. On the actual park. Okay, that gives me 68 feet. So if on the model of the park it's 17 inches, it's 68 feet of actual length. And we know that 9 times 4 is 36. If it's 9 inches on the model, it is 36 feet actual length on the park. Last problem. We want to find x. I have x right here, and I see that I know what the angle measure is here. It's 28. If I look at these two angles, they create that V. These two V's, or it looks like 2 pieces of pie. Okay, these are vertical angles. What do we know about vertical angles? Vertical angles are congruent. They equal one another. As soon as I see this shape right here, looks like 2 V's touching or 2 pieces of pie, I can set my equal sign. And that gives me my equation. 4 times x equals 28. Well, we know that 4 times 7 is 28, so x is 7. Now that's all they asked us to do on this one was find x. But if I went back here and I substituted x, 7 back in for x, then this angle would be equal to that angle. 28 does equal 28. Well, how'd you do? If you need to go back through the video and practice the problems again to help you study, do that. Please make sure that you are ready tomorrow when we meet on Zoom with your questions that you would like me to answer. And hopefully I see all of you tomorrow.